Okay, so we are back. We are back. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. Yeah. Just gonna check. I'm just announcing it on the WhatsApp group as well as the Telegram, just to check on you guys are all okay to start. Okay, I think we should just start. Yeah. Okay, guys. Um, I'll just proceed now. Where was I? Yes. So it was about the NFP and expectations. Definitely was on the downside, but as you have seen, prices just reversed. So there's a lot of backdoor operation. This is a terminology that is actually used at the moment with banks, with the Federal Reserve, with central banks as well. Okay, central bankers mainly. Backdoor operations is when they have to do a lot of things behind the doors, behind public's eye, in order for them to actually benefit the most. So if they have actually screwed up a little bit with something, they will then link in between them and do things to their benefit. Now, one of them, one of these things are buying euro versus the Swedish krona. Okay, so as of last week, if you guys remember, I've sent messages via WhatsApp as well as Telegram, because I've managed to come across some reports talking about how huge banks like Barclays, especially HSBC as well as Citibank, these are the big boys in forex trading as well. Okay, so what they do matters a lot to the forex industry and the forex market as a whole. So what they have actually planned was to buy a lot of euro versus the Swedish krona. So they've put a lot of buying orders. Okay, that was since last week. Okay, so they've put a lot of buying orders, and the euro versus Swedish krona, coincidentally, I have seen it to be correlated almost 90+% with the Euro JPY and the USD JPY. So this is positive correlation. So then I looked at that, and then I thought to myself that despite all the things that's going on in the market, there may be a bit of a surprise in the market waiting for us, a bit of a risk element to it. And hence the reason I've given you guys some hints that the dollar might not actually free fall as expected by the market due to too negative a news, so that the news didn't come up too negative anyway, but then because of this high buying going on with the what do you call that, the the euro versus the SEK or Swedish krona, that sort of fell over with correlating it to the USD JPY and the Euro JPY. So hence the reason it's still on the upside. But we will look into the charts in a bit. Okay, so I just want to let you guys know about it. And from time to time when I get surprises report coming through like that, I will always share with you guys via Telegram or WhatsApp, for our Orbex's clients especially. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is I just want to share with you let me just do what I've done last week. Now you see, when you want to actually look into trend, let's say, and I just wanted to focus on as of last week, wanted to focus on the report that I've read, whether or not it has been really accurate, or how accurate could it be, about the dollar, about the US dollar. So what I've done is I have come up with loads of pairs, but they are all USD pairs. That means that the dollar versus other pairs. Okay, so as you can see, I've got this one USD JPY, USD CAD, and they are all on a daily chart. Okay, so if I zoom out a little bit, this is what I've done. I've just paired as many as I can. You don't need too many. You don't need it's just as many as you can, get a bit of an informed decision on what the trend is. Okay, so what I've looked at as of last week as well, and even now starting this week, is we're looking at the dollar has got more appreciation to the upside. Okay, so as you can see, this one here on my left is the USD versus the yen. So I'll just zoom in at the moment so that we can look at it one by one. Now we're just talking about trend at the moment. Okay, we'll look into what pair to trade in a bit, but now we're looking at trend for the dollar, because As for me as a trader, a lot of people ask me, you know, how is gold doing? Will gold be going up? Gold going down? Now, to me as a trader, when it comes to gold and silver, especially gold, I looked at the performance of the dollar, because the performance of the dollar and what goes on in the States actually decides the gold. The gold does not actually have its own path. Its path is determined by the dollar's movement, monetary policies in the States, and especially the States. So hence the reason it's important for us to do this kind of evaluation of the dollar versus the other pairs. Okay, so now if we look into the dollar versus the yen, you can see that, you know, I've applied the 50, 100, and 200 moving average as usual. We're just looking at the dailies at the moment. Okay, we just want to know the trend overall for the dollar, how strong dollar could potentially be, or is how strong it is at the moment. Okay, so here you could see that we have got a downfall here, but we've got corrections. Okay, now I want to point out something very important for you guys to know. Now, we have got a downward move here. Okay, this is a downward move, correct? Okay, that's good. So it is under, I mean, the prices and the movement, they're all under the three lines, the three moving averages. Okay, but what I would like you to notice is that when it goes down, I want you to notice the correction. Go down, correction, correct? Go down again, a couple correction here, go down, correction, go down, correction, go down again, correction, come down here, correction, come down, correction, and then so on and so forth. And there's another correction coming up. Now I want you to focus on these corrections. Okay, all these corrections, the smaller the correction or the smaller it gets, the correction, that gives you an indication potentially that the trend is going to continue downwards. Okay, because when you have actually loads of push, if the push is really big, let's say this one here, let's say if it's going up here and this pull down is really low, then that actually shows that the sellers have taken over and taken over quite largely. Okay, this is what it means. So here I still look at it that there are potential for a drop. Okay, a potential for a drop overall. Okay, because we're based on the daily chart. Okay, but I just want to point out again with the USD JPY, I have drawn as of last month an upside down cup. Okay, so if we're looking at the long term, yes, you will still find a potential, okay, of an upward move like this to make out the handle of the cup, and then a very big move down may be waiting for us for the USD JPY. Now, there is some logic to what may actually be, may actually happen with this upside down cup thing, okay, because this upward move could potentially happen because of the US elections as well. Presidential election, I think on the 26th of September or something like that. It's it's one very important event. I'll point out the fundamentals as well in a bit, okay? But when with the US election and everything else, a lot of things cannot really go too negative. It cannot actually show that the dollar is too negative at this moment of time, especially in a month of September and coming towards the election and all that. But there's a bit of a conflict as well at the same time, because for September, every September for the past 20 years, gold has actually gone up, you see. So it's a good time to buy gold for the month of September, but I want you to actually focus on trading in stages and not just dump everything now and start buying gold all of a sudden, but you want to look at the trends as a whole, but you want to at the same time be careful on when you enter that trade. If not, you'll be caught up with lots of floating. Okay, so this is an idea. This is something I've drawn and I've sent through via Telegram and WhatsApp in the past, an upside down cup and waiting for the handle to go up. So what does this mean? This means for USD JPY on the daily chart, I'm still expecting a zigzag upward channel. This is a channel move upward, but it's a zigzag going up. Okay, so if you want to trade in stages, then I would like you to look into how you can actually enter from time to time, but you need to go on to shorter time frame to look into when would be nice timing for you to enter based on the trend at the time. Okay, so this is USD JPY. Okay, now when I went on to USD CAD daily, I still see the same thing roughly. Okay, I don't see the same cup thing. Okay, but I see that there's strength to the upside, mainly based on what I could see more what we call that higher lows, and the angle is picking up. Okay, of course the angle is at 2 o'clock. Okay, but we have got, you need to look at price then as well, and price itself here, okay, for USD CAD is at 12939. Okay, so the reason why it's at a 2 o'clock angle as well has got a lot to do with the prices that it's trading at the moment. Okay, we've got a lot of weakness with the CAD relating to oil at the moment, so we do still see some upside move with the dollar. So now we've got USD JPY looked at the upside as a potential. Now USD CAD as well, some upside. Of course, we are looking at prices under all three lines, okay, but we are looking at pickup as well. This angle here is quite important. Okay, another thing that could actually happen is for it to free fall downwards as well. Okay, but just looking at it as a whole here, we have got higher lows, and you know, this fall here, for example, may actually bounce, and we are looking at more potential on the upside. But it's important for us to look at prices going above 2950 or 2960 at least, okay, for the USD CAD, for us to get more upside confirmation. Okay, so we'll look into patterns as well in a bit. A Z pattern there is a very good observation, Teboho. Let's look at that. We will go into the chart in a bit, but I just want to go through with you on the trend just for the dollar, because dollar is very important for the month of September, mainly because it connects to all other things. Okay, because you've got big events, of course, you've got the presidential election, everything else, but it sort of help the banks decide what to do with their goal and how to trade as well. So this will give us an idea of how we should be actually trading as well. Okay, so it's a very good observation, a Z-like pattern. We will go through that when we go into the chart table. Okay, just now I just want you to, I want us at the end of me showing you this all this chart got to do with USD, I want you guys to tell me what are your opinion about dollar in general when it comes to comparing all the dollar pairs with other currencies. Okay, sorry, all the dollar currency with other currencies. Okay, now, so this one here, we've got Australia. Okay, the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. We have got I put in a downward arrow here, mainly because it's down for the AUD, but it's up for the dollar, correct? Because we are looking at AUD USD, so it is actually here it is down on the USD. Sorry, why? Because for the AUD, it's on the upside. Sorry about the confusion there. Let's start again. We've got AUD USD. It's on the upside because it's bouncing off very nicely from the three moving averages as well. Okay, so let's just make it clear. There you go. So we've got some strength, lots of higher highs, okay, higher lows, sorry, not higher lows, and we've got bounces off very significant moving averages as well, and we're looking at prices at 0.7587, so you've gone above the 80 side number already for the AUD. So AUD is posing some strength. Usually New Zealand that, okay, so we've got Australian dollar, New Zealand dollars on the upside. Okay, now we're looking at a daily chart, so they are strength for the month, probably between a week to 3 weeks, or a week to 2 weeks, or half a month time period that we're looking at strength on the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar side of it. This is technical, but I want us to look into other elements later on and look at patterns as well as fundamentals to really look at what are the strengths with Australian dollar and New Zealand. Okay, because we have got, I mean, a lot of people are talking about how much Australia is correlated to gold as well. I want to pinpoint to you that it's probably best for us not to focus on that correlation at this moment of time too much. Why? Because that correlation is beginning to fade between the Australian dollar, strength of the Australian dollar versus the gold, because a lot of traders, they get confused. They get confused. Why? Because traders may be expecting, looking at the Australian dollar going up, and then suddenly they would expect that the gold to buy gold, or for the gold to go up. Now, it doesn't actually happen too straightforward that way. The reason is, I mean, you need to understand that when you look at the Australian dollar, you need to ask yourself, which time frame of the Australian dollar really correlates positively with the gold. Okay, it doesn't mean that you look into 5 minutes and you're scalping the Australian dollar. You're looking into 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, or even 1-hour chart, and whatever you see in this short time frame, you will think that this is exactly what would happen with gold. It doesn't work like that. Okay, because it would most probably be on the longer time frame. Okay, that's why I'm showing you the daily chart. So you need to be very, very careful, okay, with that. You need to know which time frame. So correlation, to some extent you can, to some extent you cannot, meaning that you cannot rely on it 100%. It also changes, okay, and becoming more not reliable now, because we've got a lot of political agenda, and we have got a lot of data releases that has been manipulated as well. So at this time onward, it's better to trade in stages. Look at patterns is still really good, and we look into inside information that I share with you by banks and what they are doing in huge amount of money. Okay, so like the euro, Swedish, sorry about that, with the euro, Swedish krona. Sorry about that. I'm actually trading from home today, so I'm also doing my webinar from home today. So sorry about that. And with the Swedish krona, for example, the euro, Swedish krona, like I've mentioned to you about that story about how banks are actually were buying it last week and all that. These are information that I will share with you, because this involves hundreds of millions and billions worth of transactions. It's not little amount of money that they're actually trading. Okay, so that definitely would move the market. Okay, so this is important. So here we go. We're looking now at the AUD/USD. Okay, because I would like to go as fast as I can so that we can then quickly go into trade ideas and into patterns as well. So let me just go one step down. So that's on the upside for the Australian dollar. So this also shows us that with commodity currencies, it looked like the USD weaker than the commodity currencies. Okay, so try not lumping up everything and thinking that if the dollar is actually on the upside, then it's upside with all other currencies. No, it doesn't work like that, because it's got its own mechanics. You know, they all have best friends and groups that they actually group up together, so they will move in the same direction with that group. Okay, okay. We've got a question here. Okay. Yes, Teboho has got a very nice comment on silver. Teboho says that he heard silver is currently undervalued according to its ratio with gold. I agree with that, yeah, to some element, yes. And it can be strong enough to create a bias with regards to silver. That is very true. I agree with that, because I see everything as, how do you call that? A sort of a pattern that they can actually trade as well. I mean, I will draw that later on with you, but a lot of mining companies are actually investing a lot in silver at this moment of time, and their confidence have picked up with pumping of money. I have heard of a couple of gold mining companies as well have actually appointed CEOs, new CEOs. They have actually started new projects. They have got new clients pumping in money. The reason why I'm talking about gold mining when we're talking about silver is because you cannot actually literally mine silver. You have to mine gold to get the copper and the silver. Okay, so there's no such thing as mining silver. Silver is a byproduct of the mining of gold and the other minerals, okay, or precious metal. Okay, so I see that there's a bit of a trend in the stock side of it in the States, in Nevada, in a couple of places in Canada. We have some very small, small time miners, small time meaning the project, the capacity of the company may not look like they're big, but the money that they have actually pumped in seem to be very, very big. Okay, so this shows a lot of concentration. Now, with regards to precious metals, there's a lot of concentration with not only silver, not only gold, but also zinc. Okay, zinc and palladium as well. But zinc is another precious metal that is undervalued, like you've mentioned, Peboho. So this is another area that we want to actually share amongst ourselves to talk about things that are sort of hidden, not marketed so much, but then this is what's really going on. Okay, it is a good thing that you brought that up about undervalued, being having silver undervalued as well, because this gives us a bit of a route or path to think about precious metal in general. So if we were to lump up precious metal, for example, like gold, silver, zinc, palladium, even the other ones, I can't really remember their names, but these main three are sort of, how do you call that, it's like gold is the first place in traders' mind, thinking that, wow, it's going to be a big move. Then we think of secondly we think of silver, correct? And then we may not even think of zinc, but I would like you to turn that around by thinking that the second and third place precious metal might actually be overtaking the price of gold big time. Okay, gold still go up, but then there are many reasons to believe that silver and zinc as well will go up a lot more. Okay, so this is a good one that we talked about silver as well, but we'll look into the chart in a bit. Okay, we're still stuck with AUD USD at the moment here. So with regards to USD versus the commodity type currencies, they're a little bit weaker. Okay, commodity currencies are a good sign that precious metal are going up. If the commodity currencies are on the upside, then you're looking at a good chance to look into precious metal going up as well. Now that does include the gold, silver, and zinc. Okay, so now this is an interesting one: USD versus the Swedish krona. Okay, now I just want to share with you something very interesting. The world's first central bank was created in Sweden. Okay, Riksbank. And there's a lot of story behind that, and I will share that with you in a certification program for gold. There's a lot of history behind how gold and central bank and Federal Reserve and all that gone through. So I just want to mention that I will be talking a lot about Sweden, Swedish currency as well, the Nordic currencies. Okay, the Nordic currencies, we call it Swedish krona, Norwegian currency, the Danish krona, and all these are Nordic currencies. Okay, and the Swiss franc as well, of course. So these ones here, as you can see, with the Swedish, the Swedish krona, you can see that the USD is sort of creating, upper sort of momentum, but they're sort of stuck here at the moment here. Okay, and this is actually, it's got two ends on how things can go on, because if we are using the theory of cycles, then a cycle usually would go like that. Okay, so that is the situation that we may be looking at as well versus the Swedish krona, where the Swedish krona may be stronger and the dollar will be, on the downside. Why I'm saying this is because usually you have got volatility at the very top here, then you've got an upward momentum here, and this one is still considered as a sideways trend here. Okay, and then boom, comes downwards all the way. Now this is one of the theories, and it usually happens, and that actually is going on with the USD JPY as well. The USD JPY, as I've showed you earlier on, has got this very big cup-like thing as well. Okay, but the USD JPY, it has actually made all these moves down here, but it's actually trying to make the cup here. But for USD SEK, it's got a big gap downward. So this is another area, but we can only know that after it has actually made much more. Okay, so this is basically it. Yes, we have got some strength USD versus certain pairs only. Okay, certain major pairs. Okay, the USD JPY, the GBP USD. Okay, USD CHF, yes, but not really with the Nordic currencies and not really with the commodity currencies. I just want you guys to be aware of that. Okay. All right. Now, next, I would like to share with you what's going on with fundamentals at the moment, so that we can then look into trend. We can then look into what might pose big moves. Okay. But we're talking about the month of September, that I would like you guys to be a little bit more careful and understand what is coming. What are the events that are coming? Okay, I'll share with you that. Okay. All right, Teboho has got another question. He says he has heard about this time for selling yen. Yeah, we can. We will go on to the live chart just in 2 minutes time. Okay. And we'll go on to it directly on USD/JPY as well, and we want to look at patterns as well, so give you a better idea on directions and how to trade it. Evidence. Okay, Evidence cannot hear me. The rest of you guys, can you guys hear me or no? Let me just see whether I can do anything here. Let me just see. Okay, let's check again. Yes, most people can hear me actually. Okay, let me just type that to Evidence. Yes, thank you guys. Okay, I've just typed that to Evidence just to let him know. Maybe it's on his end. That's okay. All right, guys. So let's very quickly look into a little bit of fundamentals. Now, I would like you to just keep in mind 5, events that you need to understand, that these events in September may actually rock the market a little bit, and we may be able to ride it. Okay, of course, you've got September 8th, today's the 5th, 3 days time, we've got the ECB meeting coming up. September 21st, as you can see here, you've got the BOJ meeting, and then the day after that, FOMC meeting. And what's important for oil, guys, is the OPEC meeting. Okay, now if you guys are asking me about oil is expected to actually go up a little bit more. We'll talk about it. We'll go into the chart in a bit, mainly because of Russia. Now, Russia have actually signed a deal as well to reduce production, and we've got 3 other countries waiting at the back line to actually give some positive news to OPEC, saying that yes, we agree with signing that agreement to freeze production. So this will only be a positive note for the movement of oil to the upside. Okay, so that will be a 2 days meeting by OPEC, September 26th and 28th. So watch out for that a day before that, on the 25th or so, because these dates from the 20th onwards, okay, on the 21st onwards, right up to the 28th, all these days gap are quite close to each other. So I am expecting from the 20th sort of, you would see much more volume, volatility and everything else, because we have got a lot of tie-in of impact and effect by countries like Japan, for example. They have the BOJ meeting on the 21st of September, and then you've got the FOMC, so connected with the USD, and then Japan is being, quite high buyer of the oil as well. Their policy has got quite some, quite dependent on what's going on with oil prices as well. So everything might actually be quite a jumble. Okay. So please look out for these dates. And then we have got the first US presidential debate. Okay, this debate here sometimes stir up a lot of things, a lot of maybe worms coming out of cans, all these under carpet things might come up in debates, and then it hits a headline the next day, and then we get movements, okay, volatility as well. So watch out for these dates, watch out for these 5 events, and they are big events, okay. Of course, on the right side, produced by Citibank, we have got the ECB rate decision to become a sort of focus, okay. Now we have got, let's see, as you can see here, I know it will be in the recording, but I will just, what you guys can do, I'll just increase that a little bit, you can always take a snapshot, okay, if you want. Now, is it clear? I'm not sure. Maybe like that is clear because you can zoom in into your phone once you take that shot. Okay, so we've got the US, Australia, Euro area or ECB rate decision, and Canada because it's a Bank of Canada's rate decision as well. September 6th is tomorrow, I think. Yes, correct. We have got Citibank forecasting the PMI, Purchasing Manufacturing Index. Is that Purchasing Managers Index? Something like that. PMI. Okay, it's got to do with manufacturing, and Citibank has forecasted a bit of a drop. Okay, so we just need to be aware of that as well. So that may actually move the markets a little bit tomorrow. Okay, and then you've got the Australian RBA rate decision, very, very important one. Okay, 6th of September. All right, again, same day tomorrow, and then you got the September 8th. That's an important one. That's the same one here on the left side, and then BOC. So Bank of Canada. That's not in this table here, but this is for those who are wondering about oil's movement as well. So you need to be aware of what goes on in Canada. Okay, it's a lot of correlation. All right. So that is for Bank of Canada, and that is on the 7th of September, Wednesday. Okay. Some question here. Give me a second. Okay, evidence you can hear me now. Brilliant. Okay, thank you for that. All right, so this is on the fundamentals. Again, we go back to a bit of the economic calendar this week. As you can see, on the rate ones only. Of course, sometimes look at the medium impact ones. But here, as you can see, I mean, some of the traders have actually asked me about pound. We will go there immediately with pound. It's got to do with things are all looking like it's positive now, right, with the GBP. But the GBP USD, I have strictly traded GBP USD only via patterns, and the patterns have actually worked very well for GBP USD, despite all the things that have been going on with Brexit or the Brexit drama and all that has actually gone on really nicely. And we want to go back there in a bit, and I want to tell you a little bit about the pattern that I see still forming or have formed but progressing quite well, okay, for the GBP versus the dollar and also the euro versus GBP. Okay, so let's look at tomorrow onwards, okay, because we've got all this one out of the way. Now tomorrow we have got some movements, I would say, expected for the Australian dollar. Tomorrow's the 6th, as mentioned earlier on, so I want you to keep yourself aware with the how do you call that, the commodity currencies involving AUD and the NZD. Okay, then you've got something here, but these are the important areas. Now I want to point out as well, this will be given to you and talked a lot about is the role of interest rates and gold prices. Okay, now the triangle, the Bermuda Triangle of trading gold should actually connect you with interest rates, gold prices, and the US dollar. These are where it all happens. Okay, so I will explain to you why interest rates are very important in the course. It's coming up soon. You guys will be sent an email on when exactly I'll be. I think it will be only in about 2 weeks time or so that I will launch the first part of the webinar on gold. Okay, it's a certification program on gold. It's welcome for everyone to join. It's free. Okay, and you'll get a certificate at the end of the day. And I will talk a lot about that, and also trade setups on how you can trade, you know, gold this last quarter of 2016. Okay, so just want you guys to look at this. You can always go onto FX Tree, click on Economic Calendar, use the filter, and filter that out. Okay, guys, I just want to move on now, and before I move on to the chart straight away, I just want to share with you guys on a little bit of, let's see here, perhaps I'll use this one here. Okay, a little bit of an idea. I mean, we looked into the dollar just now, remember, and we've gone on there, so we've got an idea now that dollar, yes, on the upside, but not with all pairs. Dollar is on the upside, except, I mean, for the long term as well, except with how do you call that, commodity currencies, and there is a pattern as well with USD JPY expecting an upside zigzag move upward. Okay, things like that. But I want you guys to keep that in mind, and then now we combine it with reports from major banks and things like that. It's not important what they say or the direction is so much. I just want to see whether there's a bit of a tally. And then once we see a bit of a tally, we get a bit of an idea, then we go and look for patterns and we look into the technical aspects onto the chart straight away. Okay, now as you can see, Euro USD, lots of traders are the ones who are very much concentrated on Euro USD that I know in Malaysia, especially some traders on the Euro USD. We have got some sell sort of signal here on by banks, as well as this one here is not by banks. This one here is from Action Forex, but it's not that because they're really good that I would like to put them on as your trader signal provider. No, I'm just actually looking at the overall release of signals and trade ideas, and I want to look at where they're actually leaning towards to, so that I can then look on my own onto the chart for patterns that may actually then confirm what they're looking at. Okay, so here, as you can see by Credit Suisse, you've got Euro USD is expected to hold above the trend line average, so there's a bit of a support that can actually be seen. That means a buying opportunity, support at the 1.1130 or 1116 area. Now, me as a trader, I would like to polish any number that I see based on psychological level as well. So I wouldn't actually buy at one. Let's say if you've got signals saying good support there, I would first look into my patterns, but I wouldn't buy at 1.11 exactly, 1.1116, let's say. 16 is very close to 20, correct? So you need to actually still buy above 20. So 1130 is a better number there because it's above the side number. So this is good. This is good number that they have actually come up with Credit Suisse. Okay, but let's look at this one here. Here it shows you sell here. Okay, and here you've got a support. So what that means, if you marry these two together, we have got a sell potential 1.1220. Again, 20, I wouldn't take that number. Okay, but this is just roughly. I would write all this down, but I wouldn't actually just go onto my platform and start selling it straight away. No, I would just like to look at the weather. The weather forecast needs to be produced by several areas. Sometimes you hear weather forecasts and they're wrong. Okay, but if you read other things, other factors, and then you sum it up with a weather forecast, and then you get a better idea for yourself. This is what's important. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yes, we'll go on to the CADJPY, no problems. Let's finish this part here. We'll go straight away onto the charts, okay, and we'll look at patterns. John will go into CADJPY for sure. Does it have selling potential, you're asking John, on CADJPY? Okay, let's look at now. What are your idea about CAD? CAD, as you know, it's a bit of a pressure with CAD, mainly because of price of oil as well. Price of oil is expected to go up, but before it makes that upward strike, it may have got some correction. But let's look at that on the chart side of things. Okay, let's look at that. But let's look at what's going on here. Now, here itself, if we look into USD CAD on its own, it says immediate focus will turn lower for 12915. So the dollar is expected to actually fall versus the CAD. Like I've mentioned before, you remember that I've mentioned that the USD versus the commodity type currencies will be weaker. Okay, focus turns lower to 12915. So there's strength connected to the CAD. Now JPY, for example, John, you've mentioned about CAD JPY. Now JPY is looking like there's got momentum to the downside, but it would be best for you to do what I've actually done earlier on, to get all your pairs versus the JPY. Okay, versus the JPY, and look at that as an overall trend for the yen. Okay, and that you would get a better idea, but we will still go on to it technically in a bit. Okay, so ahead of key support, so what they're looking at is a sell for the USD CAD going down to 2915, and then lower for 12915, the target area, and then they're looking at support at the 2832 area or even lower, okay, for fresh buying. Okay, so this is what's going on. You can always snapshot that one. Here on NZD USD, let's look at all these. We have got some resistance and support here. As you can see, NZD remains locked in very familiar ranges, as it says here. Traveling towards the north, you can see that they've drawn. This is by the RBNZ, okay, by the Royal, by the Bank of New Zealand. BNZ. So here you've got an upward-like channel. I like to look at what they draw so that I can then look at patterns as well clearly. Okay, but I just want to show you this. You can take a snapshot there. Okay, and then take a snapshot there as well. So this will give you an idea of what they are doing, and then we marry that up and look into our type of analysis. Now, before everything else, before you see ADJPY as well, John, I would like to go on to gold first, and then we go on to majors, and then we go on to say ADJPY and the other pairs. Okay. Now, this is something that I've actually drawn since last week. So we have got two patterns, two-in-one pattern. I've got a Z-like pattern that is colored like a gray-like color there, and then a purple M-like pattern. Both signal a downward move for me when it was somewhere here, okay, middle way. So yes, it has touched, and has touched one of the lines that I've drawn. These are the PRZ area. These three green lines are the PRZ or potential reversal zone, okay, for gold on the 4-hour chart for the M-like pattern. But then I have got some more three lines down here and a red line here. Now this red line here at 1286.97, what I'm trying to do with this pair is to predict, of course, gold's movement, but my analysis shows that there are more potential for a downside move for gold. So what does that mean? That actually means that for the dollar we're expecting more movement to the upside. We're talking about the 4-hour chart, of course. Okay, now as you can see, the prices for gold is actually flirting with the exponential moving averages as well. Okay, and it's finding it quite difficult. Now with gold, with moving averages, I mean, some traders come to me and say which moving averages are the exact moving averages. 50, 100 and 200 is good for gold. Yes, they are for trend purposes, but if you're looking at some extra moving averages, you can always use the 10, okay, and the 60. Now I don't actually use it like how other traders are using it, but I'm putting it there because lots of traders are familiar with using the 10 exponential moving average with the 60 exponential moving averages, because they look at crosses. Okay, you guys are quite familiar with crosses. Once there are crosses, you know, it crosses above, of course the 10 crosses to 60, and then they're looking to a buy and things like that. I wouldn't actually advise you to do that, but if you wish to do that yourself, that's your choice. Okay, but I just want to put it there and just tell you that these are most common exponential moving averages used by lots of traders trading gold, if they are trading that way. But you can always sum all that up together and look at the pattern. Now this pattern here, for example, is looking at more, of course here I'm looking at you know, some appreciation at the moment based on the 4-hour chart. Why? Because prices have actually ended at D, and usually if it ends at D, it'll go up a little bit. But how much would it actually go up? Now it will go up from D going up to E, usually I would say minimum about 50%. So let's put this one here. So this is how much room, a little bit more, that gold could actually go up to potentially. Okay, if it does cross above the 3 moving averages, then you could see a potential for gold to reach at 1334.20 area. But of course I would suggest based on psych numbers as well to actually, you know, not to go right on the dot of 20, perhaps below 20 by 10, let's say 1334.10, let's say, okay, for you to take profit at that area, if only if it goes above. Okay, it goes above a little bit, okay, above the how do you call that, 200 moving averages as well. And here we're looking at price at 1326.31. So if you can wait a little bit, it's entirely up to you when you would like to enter, but for me I would like to only enter above certain numbers, and I prefer it to be 0.60. So 1326, you can keep that price there, but 0.60 onwards so that I can then look at more possibility of it being above the 200 at least, because it's really risky trading at this moment of time when prices for gold or that candle has not actually even crossed the 200 moving average up there, and it's actually flirting with it, you know, really accurately as well, and it's right on the dot as well. You see how prices on both candles are just there, you know, they've crossed that 50, but then, you know, it's just finding resistance with the 200 moving average. Okay, so I would like price to go above there, but if at all it goes above there, then I find it to have some strength to reach the 1334.20 area. Okay, that is for gold. Okay, so what does that mean for dollar? Then the dollar would mean that if you're looking at the potential for dollar on the 4-hour chart, then you're looking at some chances to fall a little bit. Okay, so this is basically it. But overall for gold, okay, I still see a potential for it to reach this area here, but the price that I'm quite, you know, I would like it to go under all the 3 lines first, and if it does actually have momentum to go downwards, then I'm looking at a high potential of it reaching here 1286 area. Okay, or you could actually mark that at 1290 area, but only after it crossed downwards and under all 3 moving averages would be safer for you. Okay, then you could see that a fall down there. Okay, oops, so fall to that area there. So this is the area of focus about how I map out the movement for gold. Okay, so this is how I map it out. I've got 2 patterns, and I see that the M pattern marked in purple has already completed here. I trade from C to D, let's say, on the sell side, okay, and then now I'm trading with D to E, okay. So the E or the TP area was at I made that at 50, roughly at 1234, as I've mentioned to you. So my buying has taken place, and I'm still looking at chances for it to reach there. But again, I'm caught up here at the moment because it got caught up. Prices or candles got caught up on its own at the 3 moving averages area. So that's the risk side of things. Okay, so but once it does that, then reaches there and then find that as a resistance, then hopefully the chances for it to complete my Z pattern as well. So the Z pattern looks like that. Okay. On the bigger picture, I have looked at the Z pattern first, so traded accordingly to the Z pattern. Okay, then I've noticed the N pattern in between there as well came up, so it gives me a bit more confirmation on how to trade this in stages. Okay, but you can always go onto your 50-minute chart or so and look at what candles are doing at this moment of time, or even 5-minute chart. Okay, this is still on gold we're looking at, and as you can see, more support based on, you know, those lines there, and it's actually bouncing off from the 50 moving average as well. So we're finding a bit of momentum going on the upside, especially on the 50-minute chart. Okay, all right. So that is for gold. Now we will go on to Euro USD just for a while. Now before that. Because it's USD JPY, we've got the NFP, and we've got a lot of things involving the dollar. I've put in USD JPY and Euro JPY here because they're correlated as well. Okay. Now, looking at the USD JPY, if I do that, I always like to zoom in first, of course. Apply the 3 moving averages there. I think we've got extra lines here. Okay, I think that's not supposed to be there, so I'll just delete that. 3 lines. We have got support. You can see with the USD JPY 1-hour chart I'm looking at, you can see that just from the angle itself, it's got, you know, it's bouncing upwards. Okay, this one here, it's found support here, found support here. Look at the price there, 103.42. Let's wait a little bit to look at whether prices go above the 50.50. It goes 103.50 and above, like 103.60 onwards, then we could see a little bit of how do you call that, more hope on it to pick up the strength to go upwards. Okay, but here guys, you can see that we've got a big rise up here, but then it created a nice a nice sort of curve upwards. Now, in my expectation, there may be a potential for it to create a zigzag, down, up, down, up, down, up, and go around this area here and start stopping. So, in other words, still I look at, even on the 1 hour chart, a zigzag upwards, because this may then, for me, create a pattern, a cup-like pattern. Okay, so yes, still, even technically, even with fundamentals as well, we're looking at potential for the dollar to still make that zigzag upwards. But if you want to trade in stages, it's also best for you to combine with the right sort of prices as well. Okay, so it's important for you to do that. Now, if I zoom in a little bit more, now we could find some opportunity on the upside, let's say. Okay, if I look at all this way going upwards, I see that the correction comes down and it landed very nicely on the 50 moving, on the 100 moving average. Okay, if I just pull this one all the way up here, okay, I can always adjust this. Okay, only this A. If I look at it as A, let's say B and then C or something like that, I can always adjust this first point here. And I just want that to land at a nice area, okay, here, right? So there's no Z-like pattern or things like that, but again, it landed there, and it landed at the 50%. If we take that as a point, you can always treat that as an ABCD. But here, if I go on like that, I could see that there's a potential ABCD that is quite high probability if I pick that as my A and B and my C here. So my C, because my C landed on the 100 moving average, so that's quite a nice one to look at. Okay, so there's a potential to the upside, but you need to plan that in stages, meaning we want to find the axis point first. Might be a cup that will hold. You're absolutely right. Yes, that is correct. I have not forgotten your CAD-JPY, John. Okay, I'll come back to that. But let's look at the USD-JPY potential on the 1 hour chart. Okay. Before that, if I go very quickly to the 5-minute chart, I would like to look at what's going on as of now. As of now, it looks like there's some momentum pulling it downwards. Okay. So then what I'll do is, because here itself we've got zigzag on the downside, so when I look at the 5-minute chart as opposed to the 1 hour chart, I see a potential for an ABCD here, but it may mean that I need to wait a little bit more because a correction is happening now, as you have seen on the 5-minute chart. Okay, so what I do very quickly is I mark that as my ABCD potential. You know why? Because this is quite a nice one. Why I say it nice? Because this one here, the point C, landed at 78.6%. Okay, it's a good sign. Okay, so then I just mark that. That's my AB, the first line, and then my B to C. All right. So I take that bit and I go all the way up here. Okay, so I am sort of doing a forecast at the moment. Prices potentially reaching this area of 104.67. Okay, 10467 area. So then I just redraw that first line. Okay, now because it was on the dot C point, the C point was 78.6. So if I use a Fibonacci ratio, the potential for this second TP area would be about 1.272. So I pull that one there. Okay, and I have to look for 1.272, and as you can see, it's really close to the first line that I've actually drawn. The first TP line was drawn by taking AB's length equal to CD. That's your first potential, first option. Okay, you're given a couple of chances to find your TP area for the D. Okay, so this is my A, this is my B, this is my C, and D potentially there. Alright, but then we need to convert this ABCD into a sort of geometric type pattern. So we just cross that A to D. Okay, that A to the potential D area. So we get a cross area here. Okay, this cross area here at 103.72. or 7.3 would be my ideal buying area. But of course, I've got to adjust it a little bit with my psychological levels as well. So this gives me a guide telling me that, you know, it will be ideal here to buy. Now, this is moving downwards at the moment, even on the 1 hour chart, mainly because at 5 minutes or even 15, I would guess, you're looking at a correction happening. Okay, but this price is going down here may actually get stuck here because that's where your 100 moving average is. So it is a chance or an opportunity to buy, but if you want to trade with high probability, a bit of a low risk side of strategy, there's a bit of waiting needed, and that waiting is based on geometrically. This is where I wait for prices to go to before I make my buy purchase to take profit at this area here. Okay, so that's for USD JPY, guys. A short-term sort of take in stages type trade. Okay, maybe not many pips, but some pips there to take, because we rather trade in stages and find areas to enter, even though it's not many pips, but we pick it up. We can pick up more pips as the market confidence picks up as well, as a strength of the trend also picks up. Okay, so that's for USD JPY, guys. All right, now I look at USD JPY very quickly on a 1 hour chart. We look at Euro JPY. Okay, so as you can see, it's almost similar. USD JPY. If I minimize that, okay, let's see. That movement there corrected at the 100 moving average, and then you look at the Euro JPY went up and then came down here and corrected as well. Okay, so the movement, even the shape of it, is very much correlated. USD JPY versus the Euro JPY, these two are positively correlated 90+%. Okay, at this moment in time, as far as I can see. If you are doubtful about how much they actually correlate, whether the correlation really works or not, make sure you just put your charts in tiles and you look at it for yourself how much it's correlated. Okay, now we go on to use USD JPY, Euro USD. Let's look at what's going on here. It's a bit of a buying opportunity as well, and then more selling, but let's do the analysis on our own. Let's look at what's going on based on patterns or charts. I'll clear all that first. Okay, very quickly. Once I'm done with the Euro USD, we'll go on to the CAD JPY. Okay. All right. So here, as far as I can see on the 1 hour chart, I see a lot of selling going on. Okay, I see a lot of selling. I see a lot of potential ABCD like pattern. If I just take this one very simply, this right at the top, go down all the way here, I would like to look at where that needle actually corrects. Okay, it corrects very close to 61.8, which is quite a nice sign. I pull the AB equals CD like that. Okay, and I look at potentially on the 1 hour chart some selling opportunity. Okay, but let's look at prices, guys. Look at prices. Price for Euro USD. If you want to sell, do you actually sell it at this price? The answer to that is no, it's not really safe. Why? Because you're at 1.1148. It's too close to the 50 psychological number. So if you would like to sell, you would need to sell at least 10 pips under the psych level of 50. So 50 minus 10 is 40. So a good price to sell would be 1.1140. Okay, and this is basically selling area. Now, selling area technically, based on that, let's just do the same thing we did earlier on, okay, with the ABCD pattern. So I will take that off, and AB equals CD. All right, so that's the first line that to generate the take profit area. Okay, oops. Okay, I'll redraw that line. Okay, there you go. So I've got my AB, I've got my CD. I don't have my BC, so I'll draw the B to C. Okay, once I get my BC, it's easier for me to convert that ABCD into a geometric pattern. Geometric pattern is then created by combining the A to the D. Okay, so the question would be, where was it that I could have sold earliest possible? Was at that cross area, but it's always safer under that cross and also under all three lines, which is quite nice now. Okay, timing wise, but let's adjust that 1.1140 as my setting area. Now let's look at what's going on now. Is it still picking up with buy opportunity? Selling opportunity? No, the answer is for now, what's going on now is a bit of a correction taking place. So hence the reason is a bit of a waiting time. Okay, and that waiting time coincides with what's going on with price psychology or psychological numbers as well, because you see it's just too soon to go in, and that's why you see that bullish candle picking up as well at 1.1148. Okay, so hence the reason you do a pending order or you do your entry under the 1150 area. So 1140 would be ideal area for your entry for your sale, and potentially you could look into your take profit area down here at 1.1034 area. Now for me as a trader, I wouldn't take that on the dot at 1.1034 as my TP area. I would like to look at upwards. What is the which psychological level? It would be the 1.1050. So 50 above that by 10 is 60. So 1.1060 will be your TP area. Okay, so for the Euro USD, let me just type that up. Potentially for your TP area, you could put at 1.1060. Oops, that's not very right. Yes, 1.1060. Okay, that's where ideally, based on psychological levels, I could take my profit there. Okay, ideally. And then if I were to sell, because prices are now at 1149, I would then look into entry price 1.1140. Okay. All right. Now this is entry area, potentially or probability-wise, and then take profit area. Okay. So, but then I would like to reconfirm a little bit. Look into my 4-hour as well. Look into how good is it trend-wise. It looks like it's under all three lines. It looks like it may do quite well for the euro to drop further, and then we look into what's going on with the daily chart. And again, you know, a bit of sideways here, but it's under all three lines as well. But we're not really focused on that so much, so because we drew that based on the 1-hour chart earlier on. Okay, so based on the 1-hour chart, we're looking at that. So we are trading intraday at the moment. Okay, just looking at pattern, trading intraday. Let's just do it this way. But what you would like to do as well is look into challenges, challenging area as well. Okay, you know, you want to sell when you're looking at prices going downwards. Where has it in the past that has got huge support area? Here, right? Because you see, you want to sell, you're looking at downwards, but then in the past, close to where prices are now, you could see there are lots of support here, big support, push prices upwards there. This is quite a support, push prices up there. This one here, quite a support, push prices up there. So we can draw a support resistance line. Okay, so based on this one here, for example, let's see, perhaps even this one here. Okay, based on this candle, and then the longest wick, this one here. Okay, so hence the reason, because this got support area here, right? And we got loads of support area here, some support here, got resistance and all that kind of thing. So hence the reason prices trapped at the moment here. So hopefully under this area here, it would actually then free fall towards that area here. Okay, because you've got a barrier, you've got a bit of a barrier here going on. That's why it's stuck. Prices are stuck. Okay, the voice is not clear. Okay, from Muhammad Nasir, he says that my voice is not clear. I'll try to increase the volume a little bit. It's the best I can do. Let's see. 2, 3. Hope it's better, Nasir. Hope it's better. Let's check. Okay, alright guys, so hopefully that's clear for you with Euro USD. Okay, we are going to CAD-JPY now. Okay, John, there's an echo. Okay, I'm not sure, Mohammed. I'm trying my best, but most of the people could hear me clearly. Perhaps it's at your end. I'm not sure. Maybe you want to check. Okay. All right. Let's go on to CAD JPY. Yes, please. Thank you, Mohammed. Let's just check it out first. Let's see. Maybe you've got your TV around or something, radio, things like that. Okay. All right. So let's go on to that was CAD JPY. There we go. Okay. This is CAD JPY, John. Let's look at it very quickly. Let's see what's going on. First of all, we start with 1 hour chart. We go into here. Oh, big move, big bounce upwards, lots of strength to the upside. Angle wise, a very good angle for it to start pushing upwards. Okay, it's pushed up from 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock side angle. You have got a lot of potential to the upside, and very quickly, just just at a glance, there is a big fall here. There's an A, B, sort of C, D sort of potential as well, so that makes out a potential W-like pattern, okay, which is a bearish pattern, but there may be a potential. So what you do is you pull all the way from X to A. Let's say this is my X to A, okay? And we look into barriers. We have got 61.8 area here, okay, and 78.6 there, okay. Now looking at the price itself, it's a bit of a risky level. 79, okay, that's 80 already, okay, that's right bang on the psychological level. And then you've got 79.98, the second two last digits as well. 98 is again too close to the 00. So we are at a level of potential reversal, potentially, okay. So we need to wait. This is probably a time where you can actually exit and re-enter later on if you wish, okay. If you've got more confidence that it will go up much more, then by all means you can, but there is a bit of a W-like pattern. What I will do in this time around is to look at how high probability this pattern is. I want to look for divergence, and I usually use the volume indicator here, okay, this roughly. Now if I click on volume and go like that, then I want to look at this big move. This is supposed to be, this is a big downward move very clearly, okay, right? This is a downward move. Now this is an ABCD upward move actually, even though it's not going, it's going at an angle that is, this is going at a good angle here, most recently, but all the way here, this is not a very nice angle for it to go up. When I say not very nice, I mean not very strong. It's at 2 o'clock sort of angle, okay, from this end to this end, meaning that the upward move is not really that strong, okay, on as a whole, okay. So what I do then is, here is an upward move, okay, alright, so this one is an upward move. Now I would like to look for divergence, meaning I want to look at opposites, okay, between this movement and my volume indicator. Now from this top to the bottom, from this area roughly here, do I look at it going upwards? I do, okay. I see that this one, volume picked up, so there is a divergence on this first leg, okay. There is a divergence. There's a divergence there because prices fell, but volume picked up. Volume didn't fall, volume didn't go shorter, no, volume went higher and higher and higher and higher, okay, so there is a divergence. Now from this move all the way up here, do I find falling? I do. I see that it got shorter and shorter and shorter, falling, so there is another divergence here, okay, right, there's a divergence here. Okay, so if there's a divergence like this, opposite movement between the volume and the price itself or the candles, then I can consider the pattern that I'm looking at. That means I can consider this to to be a W-like pattern. Okay, the stronger the divergence, the clearer the divergence, the better for me to consider that pattern as a sort of good pattern to consider. Okay, so on the 4 hour, yes, sure, we will go on to the 4 hour as well. Give me a second, John. Yeah, we'll go on to the 4 hour. I just want to draw that on the 1 hour first. 1 hour is sort of like a neutral one for me to look into it, and then I want to look at bigger time frames, just to look at whether I find bigger patterns. Sometimes you look at smaller time frames, you see the smaller pattern. I want to look at that pattern when I go on the 4 hour chart. Okay, so here, for example, I could regard that as a W-like pattern. Okay, so I take that, that's my A to B. Okay, all the big move there from there to there is the X to A. Okay, but then that's my A to B, so it's supposed to just correct itself around here. Okay, that's how short W-like pattern there. Okay, I would have taken that take profit here and just leave it, for example. You can do that too, or re-enter. But this is how the W for this, how the W looks like for this pattern. Sorry, for this pair at this moment of time. In a second. Okay. Right, so a W like that. Yeah. Okay. So it didn't actually turn around here, so that gives me an indication that it's got more room to go outside because it went past that D area. Okay, now where was my C? A, B, C, D, close to 78.6, not very clear, it's hanging in between the lines. Okay, but this is an area, 80.30. 80.30 is an area that I'm looking at for prices to reverse, because this is just 61.8, this is just 78.6. Okay, on to the 4 hour chart, we zoom in a little bit. Okay, look at how this materialized. Okay, there we go. Still we can see that W-like pattern there. Let's see whether I could spot any other patterns. Just a second. Okay, now potentially, if I take that away, okay, if I take that away, and I let's say we ignore all that lines, okay, for me still there is a potential W-like pattern giving a little bit move on the upside. Okay, daily chart. See, the thing is, it's strong on the downside for the longer term. On the 4 hour chart, it is still from short to medium, it's looking like pickup is still on the upside. There's still room to go on the upside, but because it is a W-like pattern, even there are room to go to the upside, may not be too much room up on the upside. There's still some room to the upside, but overall there is still a downside momentum because this is a W-like pattern. Okay, so looking at the price itself, as you can see, it is in dangerous territory in terms of prices. It's showing like it could reverse, it could reverse, it could reverse anytime. Maybe it will reverse to make a sort of correction or bounce back and then continue a little bit on the upside. But let's look at this here. I just want to, let's say if I take that as a Z-like potential, I just want that correction. Just give me a second. Okay, if I open that up here, okay, now I can regard that as a potential Z-like pattern, and again it's showing me that there's a potential reversal here as well. Okay, so it might actually reverse to the downside. There are clear signals that it may come down, but the coming down area may actually be a sort of correction before it goes up further. Okay, but may not go too much beyond this area here. It'll probably create a very nice W-like pattern. Okay, if at all it were to go up much more after the correction, there is a potential for it to actually go up here to the 78.6 area, which again, it's a very nice support area here. So that resistance would become, that support there would become resistant here, but only after it crosses the 61.8 and above. Okay, when we will look at potential to go long and take profit there and then ride the downtrend down. But overall, from medium to long term, strongish sort of downtrend. Okay, here, for example, if I were to take that up all the way up here, there is a potential, not sure just yet, but let me pull the Fibonacci first, a potential Z-like pattern as well. Here, I'll adjust that here. Okay, we were looking at CAD-JPY in the 4-hour chart, guys. Okay, so alright, and take that one there. It's corrected at a 161.8, a good sign. And let's see. That. If I do my AB equals CD, then I would look at a potential fall to this area here at 78.14. Okay, so it's probably best for you to look at a sell area under 79.80 and below. That means 79.70 at least. Okay, to wait for price. If you're looking at your selling, okay, then 79.70 is your ideal selling area, and then you can, because I've done the AB equals CD, so I will take that and I'll put it right there. Okay, and pull that right here. Okay, and that is sort of like a lazy Z-like pattern there potentially, but I want to look at whether this area here would be at least about 50% potentially. Now it may go under 50%. So what I would say is to be on the safe side, if at all you're looking at selling, then you could sell still under the 79.70 area as your ideal entry area for your sale, but to take profit at the 78.50 area, okay, because this would be a safer area for you if it is based on the lazy Z-like pattern. So 78.60. There you go. So these are the potential. Oops. Yeah, profit. So 78.60. That's your potential take profit. That's the gap down basically. Okay, if at all you're looking to the selling side area, but it could potentially be your correction because it's looking to me like it may actually correct first before going up. It's got room to go up a bit more, but it's not a permanent room. But because it's just creating all this rebound and correction. So CAD is moving up with oil and going on at the moment, but it's also playing with the complexity of the yen at the moment. So that's why there's potential for it to, you know, all this movement that you see going up is all correction only, I think, because overall on the longer term and all that, it's looking like it's a downtrend as well for the CAD. Okay, I hope that's clear. Okay, John, has that been clear for you? Are you trading on, okay, you're on the 4-hour chart, you said, so I hope that's clear. Is that okay? All right, let's look at, I think, probably got another 5-10 minutes more, but if you've got any requests for any pair, you could always let me know and we can look at it. Brilliant. Okay, good, good. All right. Okay, to answer John's question earlier on as well, you're talking about a cup and handle formation, and you were wondering whether or not it will fall looking at the strength of yen. Yes, okay. I think I probably have answered that as well, looking at the USD-JPY earlier on. But here, this is a bit of a complex situation with the AUD-CAD. Not too much complexity there. If we look into it clearly here, AUD-CAD, for example, clearly nice, you know, sort of ABCD-like pattern here. Okay, if you pull it right from the very top, you go down here, it's hanging a little bit. If you are pulling from wick, you enter the wick, but if you're pulling at the body, you can enter the body, and then you can see 38.2. Okay, then put it right there, maybe from the body again, and there that's the potential there for it to come back, but showing a bit of reversal there already, but that's the potential for it to come down further. But if you go into the 4-hour chart, you could see that it's again, on the downside sort of move here. Okay. Alright, now here, for example, this is a Z-like pattern going on with the daily chart. Let me see, look for questions first. Okay, good. I'm glad, John, that's a clearer picture. Okay, good, glad. Alright, GBP USD. Okay, there was a nice Z pattern before, and then it reversed upwards, and then now we've got a ABCD-like pattern coming up. But overall, it's a W-like pattern to me, as you can see. This is the W pattern here. Now, for GBP USD, we've got this W-like pattern, right? But the problem is, if I take the A from here, that's my, sorry, if I take the X from this point here, but what if I take the X from this point here? If I take the X from this point, then there is potential for it to move a little bit higher. Okay, so overall, yes, there's a bit of a correction downwards, but perhaps a bit more to go up as well. But overall, it's a W-like pattern, so this is the direction downwards. Okay. Alright guys, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I mean, we've gone through a few pairs. Going back to gold, we're still looking at what's going on. It's been nice for gold to follow the patterns as well, and yeah, it's been nice for gold. Let's just check on the daily chart. On the 4-hour chart, it's been nice for gold, but again, as I've mentioned earlier on, we want to look into the dollars perspective. Okay, from a dollars perspective. Okay, so here you go. It's a bit of an upside, but I'm looking at more downward momentum. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay. Alright guys, no questions so far from you guys, so okay, no problems. You guys can always email me as well, and I'll just end the session here today. First and foremost, I would like to thank you guys for attending today's webinar. Just want to inform you guys that you guys will be, especially clients of Allvex, will be sent an email reminding them of the dates for the gold certification course, which will be very, very interesting. Got lots of information to share with you guys. It will include trade setups as well, strategies as well, what to look at, but most importantly to understand how gold has actually formed our today's economy, and what's gold's role in today's economy, and how do we use this information to predict the movement for gold in the future, or especially the last quarter of 2016. Okay, but you guys will get the email and get information and all that with that. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's it basically, guys. I would like to say thank you and have a very good evening, and we'll see you again on Wednesday. Wednesday is the live account holders webinar, and we've got loads of plans for more webinars, more certification program, more tutorials as well, so coming up very, very soon. I'm working on them just now, so bear with me, but you guys will get that very, very soon. Okay, loads of plans on the education side of things. Okay guys, once more, thank you very much. Have a very good evening and see you guys soon. Bye bye.